A woman from Belgium stood in a Raising Cane's line at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport on July 20th, the day after Spain beat Argentina in the final 30 minutes before her international flight home. The gate agent made the first boarding call. She didn't move. The gate agent made the final boarding call. She still didn't move. A TSA agent approached her and said, "Ma'am, you need to get to your gate." And she looked at him, clutching her white Raising Cane's bag like it was the World Cup trophy itself, and said, "Get Europe some Raising Cane's or I'm staying here." That's not an exaggeration. That's not internet folklore. That actually happened this summer. And it's the perfect encapsulation of what just took place over the last 6 weeks in the United States. The 2026 World Cup ran from June 11th to July 19th across 11 American cities. Spain won the final 1-0 in extra time at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Ferran Torres scored the winning goal in the 106th minute. Argentina fell short in their attempt to defend the title. Those are the headlines you'd expect from the world's biggest sporting event. But here's what nobody anticipated. Between June 9th and July 7th alone, before the tournament even finished, 42 million stories and posts were published about the World Cup, generating 7 billion engagements. And when you actually look at what people were posting, a staggering amount of it had nothing to do with the games themselves. It was about ranch dressing, Raising Cane's sauce, 24-hour pharmacies with drive-through windows, the fact that you can get chicken fingers at 2 a.m. in Kansas City, the realization that Americans have built an entire infrastructure around convenience that most of the world simply doesn't have access to. TSA issued actual warnings during the tournament telling international visitors they couldn't pack ranch dressing in their carry-on luggage. Think about that for a second. The Transportation Security Administration, the people who deal with security threats at airports, had to create a public advisory about salad dressing because millions of international visitors came to America, tried ranch for the first time, became completely obsessed with it, and then tried to smuggle bottles of it back home in their suitcases. This wasn't one or two people. This was enough people that TSA felt the need to issue an official statement. Ranch dressing became contraband, and Raising Cane's became the unofficial ambassador of American fast food culture during this tournament. The chain has roughly 130 locations near the stadiums in the 11 host cities: Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Seattle. That's not an accident. That's strategic placement that turned into a cultural phenomenon. The Times Square flagship location in New York ran a soccer-themed takeover through July 19th, the day of the final. International fans lined up around the block, not for a Michelin star restaurant, not for some exclusive New York experience, for chicken fingers and Cane's sauce. And they posted about it relentlessly, video after video of people trying the sauce for the first time, losing their minds, asking why Europe doesn't have this, demanding that Raising Cane's expand internationally immediately. The company leaned into it hard. Todd Graves, the founder, hosted a star-studded party at Zero Bond in New York on July 18th, the eve of the final. Raising Cane's had a suite at the final itself at MetLife Stadium. They turned a chicken restaurant into a luxury brand experience tied to the biggest sporting event on the planet. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This wasn't just about one chain. This was about an entire ecosystem of American convenience culture that international visitors suddenly became aware of. Walgreens extended hours at multiple locations to midnight from June 11th to July 22nd, with drive-through pharmacy services available. And international visitors absolutely could not process this concept. You're telling me I can drive up to a window at 11 p.m., get prescription medication, buy snacks, and leave without ever getting out of my car? That's not normal anywhere else. In most of Europe, pharmacies close at 6 p.m. You need something after hours, you're out of luck unless you can find the one rotating emergency pharmacy in your city that's open that night. The idea that you can just roll up to a Walgreens at midnight in suburban Atlanta and get cold medicine is completely foreign. Social media exploded with international visitors filming themselves at American drive-thrus, at 24-hour diners, at grocery stores open at 2 a.m., all expressing genuine shock that these things just exist here as standard infrastructure. Posts saying, "I need to move to America just for the convenience," And how do you go back to Europe after experiencing this? Went massively viral. Some people started calling it the Target effect. International visitors would go to Target for one thing, see the scale and variety and convenience of it, and spend 3 hours wandering around in disbelief. Then they'd post about it. Then their friends back home would get jealous. Then those friends would plan trips to America specifically to experience Target. A big box retail store became a tourist destination, and all of this was happening simultaneously with the actual World Cup. Spain was advancing through the bracket. Argentina was fighting to defend their title. And millions of people were online talking about chicken sauce. Here's why this matters beyond just being a funny cultural moment. This is a blueprint for how international sporting events actually work in the social media era. The games themselves are still the main event, but the cultural experience around them has become just as important, maybe more important, for long-term impact. Spain won the tournament. That's the headline. But in 5 years, what people are going to remember from World Cup 2026 is the summer the world discovered American fast food culture and convenience infrastructure. That's the lasting story. And it's already changing behavior. Raising Cane's has been flooded with requests to open locations in Europe, South America, Asia. Walgreens and CVS have seen spikes in international customers at locations near airports. Ranch dressing manufacturers are exploring export opportunities they never considered before. The woman at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport who refused to board her flight. She eventually got her Raising Cane's order, made her flight with about 5 minutes to spare, and posted a video from the plane saying, "Worth it." That video has millions of views. The comments are full of people from around the world saying they completely understand that they would have done the same thing, that they're already planning return trips to the U.S. just to go back to Raising Cane's. That's not normal sports tourism behavior. That's something different. That's cultural export happening in real time through fast food and pharmacy drive-thrus. The World Cup was supposed to showcase America to the world through soccer, and it did. But what actually happened was America showcased itself through the everyday infrastructure that Americans completely take for granted. The 24-hour availability, the drive-through everything, the fact that you can get hot food at any time in almost any city without even thinking about it. For 6 weeks this summer, millions of international visitors came to America, experienced that convenience infrastructure for the first time, and had a collective realization. This is not normal. This is not how the rest of the world works. And now that we've experienced it, we can't stop thinking about it. Spain won the World Cup, but Raising Cane's and ranch dressing won the cultural moment, and that in the long run might actually matter more for how the world sees America than anything that happened on the field. The tournament is over, the visitors have gone home, but the posts are still coming. The requests for Raising Cane's to expand internationally are still flooding in. The ranch dressing smuggling attempts are probably still happening. The world came for soccer. They left obsessed with chicken fingers. And American fast food culture just became an accidental ambassador on the biggest stage in sports.